we'll remove this counter and the fetch data page. We don't need this, so delete this to file, and we will use index.razor. We will also need the CS and CSS file of this page, so copy the name of the page with extension and add a class with this name and add .cs here. So this will be the class. Let's put base, and we will add this method first, which is for fetch blog, and this is very much straightforward. We're fetching blogs, and then we will also have a method for loading more blogs, and scroll bar reaches its end. So this is the function for loading more, and we will also add a lifecycle method for on after render async. So when the pages loads for the first time, we are fetching the blogs, so this function, and this is it. Now we'll save this first, and we'll create the CSS file for this Blazor page. So copy this and add a new class, call this index.razor.css. I've copied the CSS file for this file, all the CSS. This is all the CSS, not too much. Let's save this and go to the Razor file. First of all, we will remove everything here, and we will add these three, one for the page URL, and this is, we will use some utility function, and this is the base class, and then I will paste the whole markup here. I will explain. This is for, so our index page is complete. Now let's close all the tabs and let's create another page for blog detail. We will call this blog detail, and here it is. And we will also need CS and CSS file for this component. So let's copy the name and add a new class, call this blog detail.razor.cs, not CSS. It will be blog detail base, which will inherit from component base, and these are the properties for this component. We will have these 4 private methods. One is for loading blog, you can see, one is for loading related blogs, and another is for loading comments, and the last one is for submitting the comment. So you can see this here. So I will minimize all this, and now we need to add the lifecycle method when the page first loads. So on after rendering, we will actually call these 3 function, and we are also setting the authorization. If the user is logged in, we are adding the authorization header here, but if it is not, the header is not there. So let's save this. Our CS file is complete. Now add the CSS file for this page. So let's copy the name with extension and add another class which we will call blogdetail.razor.css, and we have a lot of CSS for this file. See, this is the CSS I just copied from the completed project. So you can see this is a simple CSS file. There's nothing complicated here. This is it. So our blog detail page is also completed. Let's close all this. Okay, now we will create blog space. So add a new Razor component, and we will call this blogs add. We'll also need a CS file for this. So copy its name and then add this as .cs. And one another thing, we missed the markup for this blog details, so let's close, let's delete all this, and this is the actually markup for this thing. Razor.css class, we will call this blocks base, and it will also come from component base. It will contain a lot of properties, so these are the properties and that will be a full screen model, bootstrap 5. So this will open the model, and this will open the detail model, and this will open the delete model. And then we will add a method for fetching blocks. So this is fetch blocks, and you can see this is very much straightforward. It's getting the blocks from the server. So minimize this, and let's add other methods. We would also need to fetch the categories, so we'll add the fetch categories method here. It's very similar to the fetch blocks method. So this is it. We will minimize this one, and let's add other methods. We will add two functions here. One is for handling the delete event. So this is for the delete confirmation handling event, and the other one is for submitting the blog form. So let's see this. Now let's minimize this method. We will also need a function, and then minimize this, and let's add the other methods. So these three methods are the remaining one, and that is on after render async. So we'll add this here. So you can see what it's doing. It's actually checking if the user, logged in user, is admin or not, and it's fetching the blocks, fetching the categories, and that's it. So now we don't need any, we'll save this, we don't need any CSS file for this. So we will go back to the Razor file. We will delete everything from here. Next we will create categories page. So let's add Razor component which we will call categories, and let's add, and we will also need to add the CS file for this component. So let's copy the name of the component and add a new class. We'll call this categories.razor.cs, and it will also be categories based, and which will inherit from component base. Let's add the properties, and this will be the properties again. So I will add all the methods all at once. I will explain you. It is and we are missing one lifecycle method, which is when the component first loads. So we'll paste this here. So this is the one, and it first loads. We'll call this fetch categories, and we are setting the nav category as the active nav. So let's save this and go to the markup. There is only one page remaining. We'll add this for the dashboard actually. So we'll call this dashboard. We'll also need a code behind file for this. So let's copy the name, and we'll add a class for this component. So we'll call this dashboard.cs. It will also be called dashboard base, which will inherit from component base, and it will have only these three properties: JS runtime, auth provider, and user view model. And we'll add another property. This will be a static property. This demo data for chart. So a sample data we are calling this, and then we need two methods. We'll add a method for getting the color. We are using different color for different months, and there is a default color. So let's minimize this and add on after render async function, which will set the dashboard tab as active, and we are actually getting the user details from the custom auth state provider, and we will show the user details in the view. So let's save this and close this, go to the component and remove all this code. This is very straightforward. This is the view that will just show you as a dashboard. You can see here one is for bar chart, and the third one is for pie chart. So basically there are three charts here, and that's it.